by one of my favorite YouTubers. We will watch this, and then you will go to bed, Doctor. So that you may prepare yourself. It's a JaidenAnimations thing, guys.
Did you get Ghibli?
JaidenAnimations.
Oh, JaidenAnimations. For some reason your mic cut out and I heard Ghibli.
Ghibli. Alright. Alrighty. She found out she had
Sure.
ADHD. The video by JaidenAnimations.
Do you ever think to yourself, man, why is it so hard for me to just
she
do the
became a
things I
VTuber,
need to
right?
do and focus and remember things and manage my time and be organized and remember things and not get sidetracked? Ha! Yeah, me neither. When I was a kid, I was pretty much the picture-perfect depiction of a good student. I was well-organized, always turned in my work on time, got good grades. I even did my homework on Fridays instead of procrastinating until Sunday night. Sure, I didn't like studying and found it hard to focus during
Wait,
it,
hold
but
on.
who
Could
didn't?
you
Saying
live
all
it so
those
I can
qualities.
react at the same time with you?
If you want to.
Through Discord?
Oh, sure. It's fine.
Okay.
Put together, that doesn't sound like
Thank
the
you.
brain of someone with any kind of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, does
Actually,
it?
actually, it does. Although, I will say there are different degrees of ADHD, and there are different types of ADHD. It looks like she
The same
had,
goes with autism.
I think she had AD. I don't think she had full ADHD at this point, but it can get worse. Like, it can, like, evolve. From what it looks like she had a very good upbringing, obviously. But also, the very organized is actually a sign of ADD sometimes. Like, along with some other things, it can be.
I was well behaved, didn't feel like I struggled much in school, and didn't cause any trouble.
See, that's the thing. She didn't feel like she struggled at all. I didn't either. Until I, like, went into the system. That's probably like, what system? I'm adopted. Remember this. I had very
Wait,
little, like,
are you
problems.
really?
And then even in, yes. And even in, grade school, like, early grade school, like, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, didn't really have problems. Even when I got in trouble, because I was acting out, because I had anger issues, didn't have a problem. Most of it was just way too easy, and I think majority of the time I would get A's.
That is, up until I moved out of my parents' house for the first time to go to college. Gradually, I started slipping. I began
Right.
skipping classes a bit.
She's doing the exact same thing I did. Once I'm out of, like, I guess the social aspect of, like, making your parents proud and stuff, like, you're alone. You don't see your parents a lot. Or, like, you feel this disconnect there.
I just
your
didn't
ADHD
feel
starts
like
to really
going,
take
would wait until
effect.
the last moment to start classwork, and lost a lot of motivation because I wasn't interested in any of my schoolwork.
Yeah. The thing about ADD and ADHD is we get really good at focus on things we like, but we get really bad, absolutely no focus on things we dislike.
That is an ADHD symptom I have as well, but that's in the purple area. So with autism and ADHD, you have red area and blue area, and then you have the purple area, which symptoms we share. Apparently this is one of them.
Yeah.
I have.
That is why
Basically,
I've always wondered if I had autism, and I do. I've taken way more tests than I would like to say, and even though I've never, like, literally had a doctor evaluate me, because I don't have the money, I have enough proof, enough evidence for myself, and enough, like, what's the word, checks and balances that I've, like, determined that, yes, I have some degree of autism.
But overall, even though it was pretty out of character for me, I chalked it all up to the fact I was simply over going to school. At the same time, my YouTube was really kicking off, and all I wanted to do was that. Of course, I wasn't gonna be as good of a student when the silly YouTube videos were doing numbers. I finished a single year of college and convinced my parents to let me take a gap year to see where this YouTube thing can take me. Spoiler alert, the gap year turned into me never going back. I'm a college dropout. So great.
There you go. Proof that college is not required.
I've eliminated the boring school part of my life that weighs me down. Now I can go back to being organized with my
this
new
year she
exciting
went to
passion
Japan.
job, which entails being my own boss and having to manage and assign myself all of my own responsibilities 24/7.
This is the most painful part, and the part Wakon will probably tell you that they have to drag me through the mud to get to do. I just recently finished filling out all the paperwork to start getting paid by YouTube. It was
Really?
painful. It was only a few, like, questions and stuff, but it, ugh, white page with black letters. Blah.
But I don't have to deal with the American tax system.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. By fun, I mean kill me.
Why are the voices not getting quieter? It's almost like everything was going backwards. I was having a much harder time staying organized and focused. If I didn't want to do a certain type of work, I would have to shackle myself down in basically an isolation chamber to be able to get it done. If I found a new interest, it was all I could think about. And why is it so easy to suddenly be on your roof watching a YouTube video on how to know when you need new shingles?
I think she has ADHD. Because that sounds like me.
Gee.
Where, like,
What gave it away?
one second you're doing something, then all of a second you're in a completely different area doing something completely unrelated, and you're like, how did I get here again? That's ADHD for you. You get so hyper-focused on it, you don't even think about what you're doing.
I can definitely agree with this.
Really didn't get it. Child me had it held together more than current me.
And here's the thing. To give you an idea how powerful my ADHD was, I was taking the medicine very early. And even then, they kept having to up the dose. And then when they got it to a dose that worked, it was on the wrong kind of medicine, because that medicine made me go crazy. And so they went to a different medicine. And then this medicine, at a really high dosage, kind of works. But it doesn't really, like, this was before ADHD really was fully understood. So some of the things ADHD medicines can treat, but other things, it either can only mute, like make go down a bit, or something else. So that's why I've never done good with ADHD meds, is they've never really helped much. Really, they just, and then an offshoot of that is, turns out they helped in creating my depression. Lots of traumatic things happened to me while I was taking them. And then I got off of them. And then all of those things started to flood into my brain and stuff that my brain had decided to latch onto. And then they just kept staring me in the face constantly. And then my ADHD kind of focused in on them and was like, this is why your life sucks, Boka.
When exactly were you diagnosed?
With ADHD?
Yeah.
7 years old.
I was diagnosed at 6.
Well, it was at 6, but I was turning 7.
Well, the funny thing is I had a test at 4, but I wasn't diagnosed because I didn't hit enough marks. But
well,
then
here's the thing. I was never tested.
And... You weren't tested?
I wasn't tested until I was 7? And even then, they were like, Because like I'm saying, it wasn't really clear. Like, they only really started recognizing it as a thing. And, like, they had medicines for it, but, like, they weren't all, like, the perfect medicines and stuff. And then there were some medicines that needed to be abolished. But,
medicine, I need larger dosages because I have a strong immune system. And
what went wrong?
The immune system has a tendency to reject said medication.
Yeah.
I could look back and recognize how everything
used as a result, so it's a benefit, also a problem.
to be so perfect and easy. Look at tiny Jaiden and all her ducks in that row. I used to color code every single binder I owned, and now I don't even know where I placed the $20 I literally just had in my hand 3 minutes ago.
I'm telling you, that's the worst part of ADHD. Do not set things down.
That's a purple area symptom as well.
You will lose it. If you have ADHD, you set something down that is not in your eyesight. Or if you look away for a second and someone distracts you with something, you lose it.
Specific things in specific spots so I don't lose anything. So usually when I lose something, it's because somebody else has moved it.
Here's the thing. The reason I lose things is because I'm also very, at least I'm told, I'm very smart. And so I start optimizing things. And one of the things I optimize is, oh, I could put it here and it'd be better. But my brain doesn't establish that connection yet because I haven't done it multiple times. But now the item is in a new place. It's a better place, sure. But now it's in a different place. That place doesn't exist yet. So we need to establish that it exists first. And then there's the part where I have situational blindness. If I'm looking for something, my brain can't fathom what that thing looks like. I have literally walked into the living room and asked my Papa, have you seen my phone? And they will just look at me and go, isn't that it in your hand? Multiple times. And every time I will look down, realize it's in my hand, and go, shut up, and leave.
I haven't even left the room. Genuinely, where could it fucking go? Despite feeling like I was
And yeah, she put it in her back pocket. That's why I don't use my back pocket very much.
downward spiraling for multiple years, I never suspected it could be something related to a genetic neurodevelopmental disorder. I just thought I wasn't trying hard enough and being lazy, or applying myself like I used to. Oh, the woes of turning into an adult, I suppose. Maybe the best years of your life truly are in high school. How upsetting. I didn't even enjoy those either. But then one day I got a text.
That's what I'm saying.
From my brother. I got diagnosed with ADHD. Huh. It was a pretty big surprise for me because growing up, he never really seemed to show any of the typical symptoms you associate with ADHD. You know, people would always describe ADHD to me as super hyper kids who would run around the room and scream and generally be a lot. That wasn't my brother. He was quiet and well behaved like I was. But when he started explaining his symptoms, the gears started turning. Yeah, I've always struggled a lot with focusing in school and having things hold my attention when it's boring. But
to give you an idea how bad it is, getting me to focus on something I don't like is like pulling teeth. It is not a fun affair. You can ask Laka, you can ask Sephi, you can ask anyone that's like ever like done stuff with me.
Not Sephi, but yeah.
Well, no, Sephi will literally just straight up tell you. They'll be like, no, please don't make me.
Yeah.
Sephi's pretty honest when it comes to like interactions with people, and like Walk-On and Sephi have our appreciation for each other because they both had to drag me through something. To give you an idea, Sephi has conceded that I have worse ADHD.
I could hyperfixate on things I'm interested in and get really passionate about that stuff. Hearing him talk about his personal symptoms of ADHD made a lot of sense, and I felt very freshly educated on the topic. And you'd think that I would immediately
chug that juice.
Start looking into getting a diagnosis for myself, because if you were paying attention, my brother's experiences all sounded very similar to the same struggles I've been having in my own life, but related to work instead of school, because I dropped out. But nope, I was just like, good for you, bro, happy for you. Or, I'm sorry, I don't know. Anyway, back to struggling to simply open up my drawing program as if 2 blocks of iron were welded to my wrists. Imbalance of brain chemicals? Nah, this just happens from time to time. It's normal. Just the laziness kicking in. I hate Mondays, am I right? Even though
I never had that problem. To be fair, I got the unfortunate thing of savant syndrome, which is, when I was younger, I was way too smart. And the American system, my parents will tell you, the American education system did me dirty. Like, I've tried to tell them that you did me dirty too, but to be fair to them, they're supposed to do what they did. Which is, they would constantly be like, they're super smart. Boga's super smart. Boga destroys like stuff. I was constantly told that, but I was never allowed to skip grades, even though I should have. And I started to, like, in the earlier years, I did have some good teachers that started to move me into more like mainstream harder classes. But then my middle school years are where it messed up, and the teachers I got did not do that because they thought, oh no, their parents are just saying that and stuff. They want their kid to be smart and stuff. Here's the thing. that is when the American education system, what's it called? What's the word?
The Ford.
More like it hamstringed me. Basically, it stopped my running. And it started, like, dragging me backwards. Because it started I only got close. I started getting put in classes, but then they just stopped putting me on. And then I got, went to an out-of-state school, well, out-of-county school, and that kind of helped. And I got, like, highest possible grade on the state, like, tests and stuff. Like, one of the highest. But nothing was ever done about it because the school I went to didn't exactly have the resources and stuff to, like, address it. Alright, hi, Wombat. But yeah, ADHD, being very smart, American health system and education system failure back then.
I didn't instantly think there was a possibility of me also having ADHD. The mental seed was planted. It's genetic, so I knew subconsciously it ran in the bloodline. It took a few years after my brother was diagnosed for me to really sit down with
Thank you for the follow, chips coming. Thank you for uncle.
myself and consider that I too could have ADHD. Shocking revelation, I know. Foreshadowing, where did you come from? Things in the focus and productivity department were just getting worse and worse. I had the
They do. The older you are, the worse they are, it seems.
attention span of a cartoon dog, would completely forget things as soon as they entered my head, would hyperfixate on random stuff like an addict, and there was constant civil war happening inside my head to get one thing done, even though I knew it would only take like 15 minutes. You don't understand. It feels like physical torture to make myself sit down and lip sync a simple scene, like most of the time. You know, the thing I've been doing for 10 years at this point and am definitely used to doing. And yeah, once I've gotten going, then I'm honed in and you have to pry me away from it with a crowbar. I'm aware of that part. But nah, I'm still gonna scrap with myself to plant my ass in that chair because...
And here's the thing, I can't fight myself.
I don't even know why at this point. The biggest thing holding me back from feeling
Discord, chips. Gotta be in the Discord. And you send it to reaction suggestions.
like I had ADHD has always been the simple memory of being in school and having my shit together. I know what it feels like to be on top of things and to be organized. I had it all in the palm of my little child hand. I just needed to summon it again with a bit more effort. But a light switched off in my brain and suddenly I'm just not capable of the things I used to be, and it feels pathetic.
It does. I want you to know
really
that you have ADHD. You are not alone in that assumption or feeling. It does feel like you're pathetic. It does feel like I used to be able to do this.
Simple tasks are such a mental burden, it feels like I'm out of control but can't do anything about it. So finally, I figured I would try and get myself diagnosed. What did I have to lose? If anything, they just tell me, no, you don't have ADHD, try a little harder and stop complaining. And yes, of course it took me like 8 months after deciding to get diagnosed to schedule the actual appointment. What did you expect? That's like the first checkmark box on the ADHD list. I started
She's not wrong. My parents had to be the one to do it.
seeing a psychologist and he would ask the typical, do you have a hard time focusing? And I'd go, yeah, like this one time yesterday, and then he writes something down as I continue rambling on this hyper-specific example way too long for a neurotypical person. I met with him for a few weeks and then it came down to diagnosis day. The nerves, man. I was so ready for him to say
What's hilarious is she probably answered his question in the first day, whether she had it or not. Because it is now very clear if you have ADHD, especially when you're older.
I'm a normal person who needs to suck it up. But instead, he was like,
yeah, that's the thing. Guys, if you want something done with me, you gotta pressure me. Not pressure me too much, because then I'll feel like you're telling me to do it, and I won't do it. You just have to put it in front of me constantly. Be like, hey, look at this, or, ooh, what's that? And it just happened to be there, kind of thing. It has to be my idea. And then I can slowly get it done myself.
Okay, so yeah, you definitely exhibit symptoms of someone with the inattentive type of ADHD. And autism. Yippee! My struggles are justified. I'm not crazy. Wait, what was that last part? He explained all the different ways ADHD affects me and the different areas I struggle with compared to others. He even gave me a 37-page document of his conclusions and information on how my brain works, with graphs and pictures. I've read through it all a bunch of times now, and it's already really helped me understand how I tick. I call them the autism docs, but I'm not gonna get into that side of the diagnosis. Let's just brush that one away for now. There's a couple types of—
Yeah, she's right to do that, because this video that's 17 minutes would be probably too long for YouTube to use it. At the time she posted this, maybe. I say that, like, basically it would be like 20 times longer than it is.
Of ADHD you can have hyperactive, inattentive, and combined, which is both hyperactive and inattentive. Hyperactive is the type people typically go to when they think of a loud kid who can't sit still. People with this kind normally need to fidget, have low patience, tend to talk a lot, and have
And that is why I have low patience.
trouble staying seated, especially when they're expected to, like in a meeting
And what's hilarious is I used to be very good with patience when I was younger.
or school. Inattentive is the one where someone experiences
never been
difficulty in
patient,
focus,
at least in
memory,
some
organization,
aspects.
has a low attention span.
Look, guys! The 4 moods of Boka. The who? What? Where did I put this? What are we talking about?
That's the one I have. It's self-explanatory, but if you have the combined type of ADHD, then you got it all. ADHD jackpot right there, my friend. I brought up during the appointments that I used to be such a good kid in school with seemingly 0 ADHD symptoms, and how that part has always confused me. And he had a couple hypotheses about it. One, since my mom has always been a big source of my organizational influence, I was able to depend and lean on her for the majority of my school life for it. I felt like I was naturally capable of staying on top of things because she was right behind me the whole time, reminding me and guiding me through stuff. So when I moved out, everything started crumbling, which lines up pretty perfectly to when I did start struggling. Another explanation he gave was the fact that ADHD affects women differently than men, which is also less researched. Love to hear that one. Not only do women tend to be able to mask their symptoms better than guys, so it goes much more unnoticed, but they also experience ADHD differently. And research says there's a chance it can just start affecting women later in life. I'm no ADHD scientist though, that's just what I've been told by specialists. I don't know, I've just got the dang thing. Either way, those
Exactly. Don't know, but here I am.
two explanations make a lot of sense to me and have since put my weird ADHD imposter syndrome to rest. I didn't really think that getting
The imposter syndrome is big with this one.
a diagnosis would change much about how I go about my life, but since getting my ADHD certificate and lollipop, it's completely revolutionized how I think and go about getting things done. It's still hard to get my ass into gear when I need to do one normal thing that's not difficult, but I'm much less hard on myself and will strike almost like these kinds of mental deals to loophole myself into getting things done. Like, for example, if I really don't want to edit a video, I'll say to myself, okay, I know it's gonna be super hard for me to immediately start that task, so I'll get myself into the mindset of getting things done by doing a simple other task I don't find difficult, like cleaning my room. That way, I'll feel productive and can transition that into tackling the original task much easier. It doesn't always work, but it's the mindset change and overall understanding that sometimes I'm gonna have to go about things in different ways that's helped me a lot. Also, after being diagnosed with ADHD, I didn't have much desire to get medicated. I figured just knowing I have it would be enough to get things in.
Take it from me. Don't take yourself off of it. The second I got the ability to take myself off of it by myself, because I gained more control over my doctor visits and stuff, I took myself off of it. Because I felt that it crippled me. I do kind of wish I still took it.
into gear, and I didn't really need medication that badly.
And what's crazy is,
but
if I still took it, there was a lot of things I could get done that I can't get done now. In terms of like job help and stuff like that. That I really need, but I can't do because I can't pay to get re-diagnosed.
And the content creator in me also thought, well, if I'm gonna write a script about having ADHD, it would be nice to be able to talk about what it's like to be medicated, even just for a day. So I got prescribed good old classic instant release Adderall. Instant release means I don't have to take it every day. I can just take it when I need to get stuff done. It affects me immediately and then wears off after a few hours. There's also extended release, which is the kind you take every day and gives you a constant steady stream of medication. It wasn't until I had the Adderall in my hands when I realized the idea of taking it for the first time made me nervous. Like, what is this thing gonna do to me? I have so many friends with ADHD, honestly a higher ratio than friends without it. That's how it goes in content creation. All these MFs have it. They were all telling me that it's awesome, how you'll take it and immediately feel like a god, and you can do anything and it's incredible. And yeah, that sounds great, but also like, what the hell? What do you mean I take this little pill and suddenly all of my problems seemingly disappear and I gain
Yeah, the ADHD part of me doesn't believe that, but it does work.
superpowers? That's scary. That sounds like the thing every adult in a 20-mile radius warned us about when we were kids. Am I gonna feel like a completely different person?
I like that she put Sonic because Sonic was a part of the DARE program at one point.
I don't know if I'm ready to experience immortality. I put off taking Adderall for so long because I was irrationally scared of the tiny blue pill, but coincidentally, I really needed to get a script done. If I take too long to write a video script, then the team runs out of work to do, and then I have a bunch of people sitting around and waiting for me to give them more work so they can pay their bills and survive and stuff. But for the freaking life of me, I just could not get myself to sit down and write that script. My body and soul found it mentally easier to backflip off a bridge than write.
Yes. Easier to do all those crazy things than do the one simple thing in front of you.
Write words on the computer. After literally 2 months
Usually
of
I
my
have
brain
scripts
going
in my head rather
Nope.
than make physical ones.
Nope, can't happen. If I make them in my head, they'll be destroyed within the next minute.
Ooh, you better write
Well,
that
that's another
script.
symptom
I
I
won't
don't
let you
share
enjoy
with
a
you.
single moment of
Mind
your
is like
life
a
if you aren't
massive
writing that
palace.
script.
And the whole fancy V, people think it's funny, but that's literally ADHD in a nutshell. We'll get super focused on that. Because we know as soon as we get past that, we have to do the thing. But for whatever reason, our
believe
ADHD
that's,
doesn't want to do the thing. So, we make the V look really nice.
I believe that's a reference to SpongeBob, because there was an episode where he was supposed to do an essay, but spent the entire night just making a really fancy the.
It could be. But I feel like it's also a thing of ADHD, is you get super focused on that one thing.
Oh, yeah,
As to distract yourself
definitely
from
seems
doing
to
the
be.
thing.
I don't wanna.
You don't
Get
have
up,
time.
go to the bridge. After that constant loop, I finally swallowed my fears and took my first Adderall. I had talked to James a lot about what Adderall is like since he's been on it for a few years now. And after I took one, I was messaging him like, I did it. I ate an Adderall. How long does it normally take to start? How do I know? What do I do? And he was helping me a lot and giving me tips. Then, like 20 minutes later, I felt it. All the non-stop thoughts going on in my brain went silent. I could think clearly and in like a line. My mind wasn't racing a mile a minute. I was able to sit behind my laptop and write. It was incredible. I was messaging all my friends about it the entire time. I can write my script and not get distracted. I don't have to take a mental break every 10
Notice that she's putting gibberish right there.
minutes. I can remember things.
That's kind of the thing with ADHD. We get super focused on stuff and we'll start writing stuff straight from our brain. But here's the thing. Our brain doesn't think in grammar or spelling. So it'll look like gibberish to you. We have to spell check way more than other people. Because we just go, blah! Vomit it all out. Because we gotta get it done right then. Don't. That inspiration is gone. And then, bleh!
else, you sent me a message, and I thought,
to friends, I just type what I do. You know how I say though, even though I just type THO instead of the full word?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what I do with friends.
I'll check that in a bit. And I remembered to check in a bit.
For some reason,
And respond.
TTS
When I
says
opened the new
it's
tab
horrible.
to look something up, I didn't go down a random unrelated rabbit hole. I picked up my phone to check something and didn't impulsively scroll Twitter for an hour. I can write words so easily. How am I doing this? What do you mean I can feel like this whenever I want if I just eat the tiny blue pill? I refuse to believe regular people can function like this on a day-to-day basis. No way. It wouldn't be fair. You guys don't have loud, non-stop voices in your heads preventing you from doing normal things? Come on, just admit it. You can't pick something up and immediately keep remembering what you were supposed to be doing with it. You always forget and feel crazy.
I feel called out by this scene. I feel called out by this scene. I feel called out by this scene. The amount of times
Okay?
I've left the amount of times I've left the stove on would terrify a normal person.
And I set timers whenever I put on the stove. But
I have to tie my wrist with like painful stuff. Because the pain needs to be there. Because if the pain's not there, what did I need to remember?
Come on. Come on. I was so suspicious that on Adderall, either nothing would happen and I just wouldn't feel anything, or I would feel like I'm a totally different person experiencing some higher-than-life manic episode. But no, I just felt like myself, but with my shit together. And that's the part I couldn't believe. After 2 months of war, I finally was able to plant myself down and write my damn script. You wanna know what script I wrote while experiencing Adderall for the first time? This one. I was struggling to write a script about ADHD, and the thing that finally pulled it out of me was Adderall. You gotta admit that's funny. Yeah, it was great.
very
I didn't
funny.
think my head was loud before, or I was that impulsive, or had that hard of a time focusing. But now that I've been able to peacefully sit in one spot for hours and not need to take a break, or check social media, or get distracted by some stupid tangent I don't actually care about, yeah, this changes things. I still can't believe what I was able to accomplish. Writing a script in 3 hours. Compared to my typical 12 hours, aka one mediocre thing with no struggle at all. And you wanna know what I did right after I wrote this script? I immediately got up and cleaned the birds' room without rotting in bed for 3 hours beforehand. I just went from one task to another without thinking about it. All you neurotypical people must be thinking I'm literally pathetic and useless. But
What's sad is she's better than me at it. I think if I did take Adderall or something, it would evolve my entire state of being. But then I would also have to pay for the meds. This is why I love you guys. For the little bits of money you do send me, because it helps me so much. You do not understand how much $5 evolves my life.
I know my ADHD brethren are out of their chairs right now.
I'm all of them at the same time. I'm tearing, I'm screaming, I'm bawling. I want to throw a desk. In happiness.
Why would you want to throw a desk?
In happiness, of course. So that I can get my point across that I am happy. And it is this much.
Now hearing that. I'm not standing before you all to give you scientific data and information on ADHD, or diagnose you, or even promote prescribed drugs. I'm just here to talk about a big and recent experience in my life, how much of an impact and effect it's had on me, and how awesome feeling normal is. Seriously, being able to take a deep breath in mental silence is incredible.
It is. I miss it. Sometimes I get it in the morning. That's why sometimes stream might be late, because I just want to lay there and have it happen to me, you know? Just, quiet.
Cherish that feeling if you don't
Check.
have a neurodevelopmental disorder. It took me 26 years to realize my woes
No.
were not actually woes. but symptoms of brain chemical deficiency. I'm writing this video, all things considered, pretty recently after being diagnosed, and I'm still trying to learn how to rebuild my life in a way that lets me optimize my productivity and get things done at a normal level. But so far, I've come so much further than I thought I could simply by knowing what's going on up there in the old noodle. And Adderall. If you're on the fence about being diagnosed with something, I get it. It's scary. It's scary to think you might have it, and it's also scary to think you might not have it. It's an odd place.
It's the very odd place to be, where you kind of need to be prescribed it, and then you kind of don't want to be prescribed it. I do. The 24-hour council is very loud and very opinionated.
To be. But for me, having a concrete answer from a professional is what got me to finally stop feeling stuck in place and actually start moving forward again. It's been great. I'm excited to keep learning more things about how my mind works and find new ways to improve my day-to-day life. Cheers to getting normal shit done. In case you missed it, I have new merch. For a limited time, you can get yourself a new and improved
Boka. When merch.
When merch? We're not that big yet, Doctor. Maybe like twice the size we are. I will start, like... Here's the thing. Y'all don't understand that it costs money to make merch.
When
I don't think there's more than 20 of you that will buy the merch. But it'll cost like 60 people to make the merch. But yeah. That was really good one.
We, the Boka Council, call this meeting to discuss the results of the last meeting about the shiny squirrel. All in favor of chasing the squirrel say aye.
Aye. Alright. On to things we were thinking about. First of all, Doctor!
Yes.
Go bed. Sleep.
Aye aye.
Have good rest. And begin your journey!
Meeting adjourned. We shall now chase the squirrel.
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, thanks a lot, Boka. This has really helped.
Yeah.
Rest well, Doc Bokath, 1 heart.
Have a good night.
I'm not done. I'm not done hugging. Okay, now I'm done. Adios.
Bye. Alright. Alrighty then. Oops, I accidentally minimized my OBS. I'm smart. Alrighty, chats. What are we doing today? I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then you will tell me. Or you will die! Yeah.